About 7,000 years ago, the Balkan region. A person saw stone bleed. The green stone called malachite was heated red. Liquid metal flowed out from the crack. No hitting, no grinding, no shaping by breaking. Pouring into a mold. The world had never seen that. The Stone Age lasted 3 million years. 3 million years of hitting rock against rock. Then someone melted the earth. Copper is too soft, an axe bends when chopping wood. A copper sword twists in the middle of a fight. It wasn't hard enough for serious work. Then 3,300 years before Christ, someone in Anatolia added tin. Bronze was born, much harder than copper. It holds an edge, can be cast into any shape. If it breaks, you can melt it into something else. Broken stone is broken forever, cannot be fixed. But bronze remembers nothing of its old form. The first global supply chain was formed. Copper in Cyprus, tin in faraway Cornwall. Donkeys, river barges, ships carrying tons. Imagine you were that transporter. Do you want to comment on that journey? After bronze came writing, something even scarier. 1929 Uruk, southern Iraq. Small clay tablets the size of a palm, covered in wedge-shaped marks in neat rows. Not decoration, not art at all. That was fossilized speech in baked mud. 5,500 years old, still readable. The first writers were not poets. They were accountants, tracking grain, offerings, debts. A reed stylus pressed into wet clay, leaving marks. At the same time, for 1,000 kilometers southwest, the Egyptians were also carving symbols on stone. Two civilizations that never knew each other, both solving the same problem, preserving speech. Then China, then the Maya later. 4 independent inventions on 4 continents. That cannot be coincidence. The human brain, when dense enough, wants to write. But here is what is truly haunting. In China, there are symbols on turtle shells, dating back 8,600 years. 3,000 years before Sumer, 3,000 before Egypt. Writing was already there, waiting for us to wake up. Everything you read today started from that. Hit like if you think writing is a miracle. Before writing, knowledge died with the old people. Do you dare imagine losing everything every generation? The bow and arrow appeared much earlier than you think. 64,000 years ago, South Africa. Sabuta Cave, tiny stone points. With impact damage and adhesive residue. Too small to be a spear, spears are much larger. Those are arrowheads, requiring a bow to launch. A functioning bow is not a single object. It is a system of 5 different materials. Flexible wood, sinew string, stone point, feathers, glue. You must picture the whole thing before building it. And you must teach it to a child who cannot read. Before the bow, you had to get close to prey. A few meters, facing claws, fangs, horns. Every hunt was a life or death encounter. The bow broke that deadly equation. 30 meters, the animal doesn't know it's targeted. Risk drops, more meat, the tribe is fed. Humans became the ultimate predator. War also changed forever from this moment. The bow dominated for 60,000 years. No other weapon ever held that record. The wheel? Only 5,000 years. The bow, 60,000. The people in Sabuta Cave were not primitive. They understood ballistics, aerodynamics, elasticity. And they solved the distance problem so perfectly that we could not improve it for 60,000 years. Do you want to try archery once? Tell me in the comments, please. Pottery is even crazier, because it came before farming. 20,000 years ago, ice covered the northern hemisphere. 2 kilometers thick, sea levels 120 meters lower. No villages yet, no fields. And someone needed mud and fired it into a pot. Xianrenden Cave, China, red pottery shards. Textbooks say, settle down first, then make pottery. But pottery came 8,000 years before settlement. Hunter-gatherers still made pots. They boiled bones for marrow, softened wild tubers, stewed fish into rich broth. Maybe even beer, something intoxicating before wheat. In Japan, the Jomon culture made pottery for 10,000 years, without planting a single grain of rice. Their broken shards still hold fingerprints. Do you want to touch a 20,000-year-old fingertip? Cave paintings are even stranger. 45,500 years ago, Indonesia. Sulawesi Island, a hand pressed against the rock wall. Mouth spraying red ochre, creating a negative handprint. Next to it, a life-sized wild pig. Clear back crest, snout, legs mid-stride. This is not scribbling. This is art. And it is older than any painting in Europe. Europeans were not the first to paint. They painted in Indonesia long before. In France, Lascaux Cave has nearly 600 animals. Bulls, horses, deer with precise anatomy. Veterinarians recognize specific breeds. In Spain, the ceiling of Altamira is full of bison. Muscles curved along the rock's natural bumps. They used perspective, shading, three-dimensional volume. They showed movement by repeating images. The animal gallops when the torch moves. Then that technique vanished for 40,000 years. It only returned during the Renaissance. The human mind was already smart enough long ago. But something got lost in the darkness. And it stayed lost longer than recorded history. Hit like if you believe art is destiny. Domestic dogs appeared before farming. 14,000 years ago, Germany. A dog skeleton buried next to two human skeletons. They considered it worthy of burial. Dogs were the first domesticated animal. Not goats, cows, pigs, or chickens. Before any other living creature, the wolf became a friend. Genetics says the split happened 40,000 years ago. Older than any city still standing. But modern dogs did not come from gray wolves. Gray wolves are cousins. The real ancestor is extinct. The only trace left is the dog lying next to you. The domestication process started with garbage. Bold wolves came close to camps to eat leftovers. They tolerated fire, tolerated noise, ate better. Over thousands of generations, they stopped running away. They lingered, watched, and followed. Humans saw the benefits: guarding, hunting, warmth. This was not domination. This was a mutual agreement. And it never broke after 40,000 years. Do you have a dog? Tell me its name down below. The wheel appeared terrifyingly late. 5,500 years ago, Slovenia. An ashwood disc, 28 inches in diameter, with a square hole in the center for an axle. That is the oldest wooden wheel in the world. Modern humans had existed for 300,000 years. Our ancestors for 5 million years, so why so late? The wheel was not invented for transportation. First, it was a potter's wheel, a spinning platform. They spun clay for centuries before any cart. No one thought this could carry heavy loads. The real innovation was the wheel and axle together. The precision fitting to reduce friction. The Incas had toy wheels but never used them for transport. They chose llamas instead of carts. Progress is not a straight line. It is a fork in the road. Do you think the wheel was obvious? Think again. Farming made us shorter and sicker. 12,000 years ago, the hills of Turkey. Someone scattered wild wheat seeds on the ground, then stayed long enough to see them grow. Farmer bones are shorter than hunter bones. More tooth decay, malnutrition everywhere. Diseases from livestock, smallpox, measles, flu. And then came the idea, owning land. The first king, the first priest, the first slave. Inequality is the gift of farming. Stone tools are even older than humanity itself. 3,300,000 years ago, Kenya. Someone hit rock against rock to make a sharp edge. Not human, the genus Homo did not exist yet. Those hands were not fully formed, still built for climbing. But they made tools anyway, and the tools reshaped them. The thumb lengthened, the brain expanded. Fire was the last thing and also the first. 1 million years ago, Wonderwork Cave, South Africa. Someone kept a flame alive 30 meters inside the dark. Cooking food shortened the gut and grew the brain. Everything you see today came from that flame. Thank you for listening until this very second. Hit subscribe and click the video on the side.